Hey guys, Creator Mom. Just another morning chat. Another morning chat. Just kidding. It's always dark because I get up early and it's still dark. And in the winter, the sun starts rising where I live at like 7. You start seeing it come up. Anywho, I want to talk about Christmas crises this morning. Hey. So I joined one of those groups on Facebook that you can get, like, people can exchange free things. At least that's what I thought it was. Okay. It's like one of those buy nothing groups. Well, I've joined them before and then got out immediately because the energy in the group is so frantic and so desperate. There's a lot of desperate energy. I'm in a crisis. I'm in an emergency situation. And my heart right here, I feel it. I couldn't handle it. I'm just like, oh my God. The energy. You have to, I don't know. In my opinion, you got to watch your energy. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to, I don't want to partake in that energy. I don't want anything to do with it. But as a person who has been like criticized heavily by my mother, she kind of is part of my inner critic, Who's part of your inner critic? It's probably your parents too. Or somebody out there. But let me get my cream. So like my mother would be like, "Oh, well, you're too privileged to be in one of those groups." She would just turn it around on me, make it sound that it's not. That's not the case. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I can't take the desperation energy. And I have to work to correct that in myself, because I don't want to feel that. And people think just because you don't want to feel that means that you don't want to help people. It's just like, that's not true, You can't help everyone. You know what I mean? They can't, unless you're looking for those groups because you have, a few $1,000s that you want to go into those groups and you want to pick people out and help them. That's a great way to be in one of those groups, Like, hey, if you got money, anyone out there, and you're looking for people to help, go in one of those groups in your local area. And bless some of those people if that's what you're into, That seems like a good idea. But because I'm not there to do that, it feels really bad being in that group. So, but yeah, I thought it was going to be like a group where like I would say, hey, I have 3 bags of coffee I don't need. Does anybody want them? And then other people would post those things too. Like, hey, I have this cleaner that I don't like. Does anybody want it? Like just shit like that. But it's not. It's just like, help, I'm in a crisis situation. It's just like, oh my God. There's a lot of panic, trepidation, fear, which also produces like guilt. Okay. So yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm not getting out of these groups. I'm not joining these groups. I don't care. But I do. What seems to work for me is Facebook Marketplace. I love Facebook Marketplace. It is so awesome. You can use it as a really good tool. I've gotten good deals on there because people, it's like yard sales. People just have something, they don't need it, they have no use for it, and they just want to get rid of it. So hey, they'll sell it like really, below retail. That's how I shop on Facebook Marketplace. If it's local and below retail, then I'm gonna buy it, and if I need it. Like, I just got my son a pair of shoes. He skateboards, so his shoes will be getting holes in them from the sandpapery, feeling of the skateboard. And yeah, so found shoes on there for $10. Not bad at all. And they were Vans at that. They were Vans for $10. I'm like, you can't beat that. And his size, I said, those are for us. So we got them. We picked them up. And that's why I love Days of Marketplace. It's just a wonderful tool. And sometimes people, we want to get rid of things for free. So I'm like, that's where I'll stay. If I want to give things away for free, or I want to look for things for free or below retail, I'm not going to go in those groups, you know? Those groups are like for people in crisis situations. One family was like, that somebody's hot water heater had broke, you know, and they don't have any hot water for a few months. And I know what that's like. We had, when I had no hot water, we were like boiling water to take baths and stuff like that, for a little while, probably for like a month. I mean, that's a crisis, you know. But you could survive it, but it's not. It's not. I don't know. It definitely inconvenient. It could be annoying, you know. So, anyways, yeah, these people have no hot water heater, and I'm like, I was trying to. I sometimes I know about resources, but yeah, I mean, they have to reach out to resources, you know. It's like, who have they reached out to? But besides that, everybody when they post in that group, it's panic. They're panicking, you know. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. Christmas. So they had no hot water heater, and the dad, I guess, lost his job, and can't like get Christmas gifts, you know. And I was thinking about, this is why I hate Christmas. I don't hate Christmas though. It's not, because I know it's nothing in the outer world. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate what days like Christmas can trigger people into. I hate that we can be triggered into crisis by Christmas. Because there's so much pressure to conform to getting gifts for your kids, you know, and all these, you know, some nonprofits out there are like, you know, getting donations and getting all these gifts for kids so that they can have something on Christmas Day. And I'm just like, could we just take a step back and see what we're doing here? Can we just think about it for a minute? Let's just get out of crisis mode real quick. You know, let's just forget, like, we have this Christmas crisis and there's this day on the calendar that says you gotta get gifts for all your kids. And if you don't get gifts for all your kids, what? What's gonna happen? I just can't. It's ridiculous. I know it sucks to tell your kids, hey, look, we're going through a financial situation currently, you know. It's probably not always going to be like this, but just currently. And Christmas, you know, this day on the calendar, you know, it's December 25th. And start talking about Christmas. Start talking about what it means. What does it mean? Some people say it's the birth of Jesus and da-da-da-da-da. And that's what that means to those people. Some people don't celebrate Christmas, the day called Christmas, December 25th, that way. Even people in Christian circles say that Jesus wasn't necessarily born on December 25th. So there's that. Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Santa Claus. Where did Santa Claus come from? Where did this idea derive from? Let's start thinking about what we're doing instead of going into a crisis and telling everybody they need to help us get gifts for our kids for Christmas. That this holiday is throwing people into fucking crisis. I hate it. And I'm probably going to talk about it every year. But again, you know what I hate? I hate how it does this. It can do this to people. Again, I know people say it's not what's on the outside that does something to you. It's how people perceive things, which is true. That is the truth. That's why I'm talking about it now. That's what I'm talking about. How can we perceive Christmas differently so that it doesn't throw us into a fucking crisis every year? Because it shouldn't be like that. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be one way or the other. It shouldn't be, either we're getting thrown into a crisis because we don't have money to buy all these people and all our kids gifts for Christmas. And it shouldn't be, we have an abundance. Let's get 1 million gifts for our kids for Christmas. I'm not saying like it should be one or the other. I'm saying like, is there a world where people just say, hey guys, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? We're not I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm going to tell you what this whole Christmas thing is about. It's just a day on a calendar. Who benefits from these people's crises? Who benefits from people buying gifts and gifts and gifts for people? Let me tell you one thing. I like gift giving. Gift giving is fun. It's joyful. And that's another thing that angers me, that this fucking day called Christmas can sometimes steal the joy out of giving, and then they want to call you a Grinch. You know what I'm saying? No. Yes, it's stressful when people feel coerced, literally, to buy gifts for everyone for one fucking day called Christmas. Give me a break. Gift giving is supposed to be something that's joyful, something that you do out of inspiration, something. And I feel like this thing, Christmas, can just suck the joy out of people and that, and rob them. They still have joy in giving the gifts, but maybe they're stressed about how much money they spend and all this and all that because they're trying to keep up with the outer standard, It's hard to tell your kids that we're not celebrating Christmas this year. We're not doing it like how usual. Let's talk about what Christmas is. Where did Santa come from? Who is that? Who the hell is Saint Nicholas? What about the winter solstice? Let's talk about that. I want to talk about that. I want to celebrate. That's what I want to celebrate on Christmas. Sure, yes. The birth of Jesus, which, yes. I was going to say something like, I'm just finding out things about the Bible. And it's good. It's good stuff. You know what I'm saying? What I'm finding out. But yeah, let's talk about the birth of Jesus. Let's talk about the winter solstice, Hey, let's talk about how starting from the winter solstice, we're going to have a little more daylight every year. Isn't that happy? Yay, I love that. Let's talk about how, is December 25th the winter solstice? Let me look it up. Okay, damn, I was wrong. It says Christmas is not the winter solstice, but they're related. The shortest day and longest night of the year usually occurs on December 21st. Hey, I think that was I had a best friend from childhood. I think that was her birthday. Okay. Celebrated on December 25th, Christmas, which is likely the result of the winter solstice traditions of pre-Christian Europeans. A widely held theory is that church chose December 25th to appropriate the Roman winter solstice festival. Okay, wonderful. Let's talk about that, children. Shall we? Shall we, children? Let's forget about all these gifts. And I'm not saying if you have money, don't buy gifts for your kids either. Hey, do what you want. Like last year, I was like, I don't think Christmas is really going down like that, This year, I'm like, because I'm rebuilding myself. I'm reaccumulating stuff from my situation where I had to leave everything. So this year we got a few stockings from Dollar Tree, and I had these Squishmallow ornaments that I was hanging on to for 4 years. that I had never used that are beautiful. I took those out. A tiny Dollar Tree Christmas tree. Somebody asked me, hey, I got this 6-foot Christmas tree. You want it? And I'm like, no, because it's too big. It's too big, and I'm not going to have anywhere to store that. It's like, was I going to say, and I told my kids, I said, look, I'm not trying to spend a whole lot of money for Christmas, because even if even if I was a millionaire, or, I had millions of dollars, I'm still me, and I don't know. I don't know. I think I would still have the same mentality about Christmas. Like, hey, let's keep it light, something, a little something, something for each person. Because I told my kids, I said, I understand that we live in this world. I understand that there is a certain feeling that gets born within you if you have nothing for Christmas. Because you can't, it's almost like you can't escape the collective energy. We have to find ways to, work with it in a way. Like, hey, that feeling that you feel, that's just a result of the collective energy. Like, you feel like this expectation, like it's supposed to be a certain thing, and then it's not, and then that's like a letdown. That's just what that is, But anyways, understanding that that's a reality that we live in, that the cultural energy is strong, it is powerful. I ain't gonna deny that. But I have to find my way in that. I have to find a compromise, as they say. What works for me? What doesn't work for me? And I think what works for me is getting a little something, something. I told my kid, I'm like, I'm not going to spend $100 each or something like that. I told him, I said, a little something, something I'm going to get you guys, that I know that you would like, that's special to you. So you got to do what works for you. So it's like for families that are in crisis, like, oh my God, I can't get my 5 kids gifts for Christmas. Like, just settle down, get out of desperation mode, and realize what you're doing. That it's about desperation about a day. I know it's not just about the day. It's about how your kids are going to feel. Because we don't want our kids to feel sad, disappointed, like they're poor, they don't have nothing. I know. That's why I think it'd be good to explain what this day is about. What's going on here? Why do we do this? This is a tradition. It doesn't mean anything about your identity, kids, and they still might not get it, but you can only do what you can do. Don't be afraid. I guess we just have to not be afraid for our kids to be disappointed or sad for a second, because we're allowed to have those emotions. And I think as parents, we want to prevent our kids from feeling those things. We want to prevent them from feeling sad and disappointed. Not that we want them to feel that way, we don't, but we probably have to stop trying to go out of our way to prevent them from feeling that. Okay, we're not going to cause it for sure, but we can't prevent them from feeling certain ways in certain situations. It's just they're strong enough to process those emotions. So let me give you an example. This video is getting long, but I don't even know who's going to watch it or who cares, but whatever. So yesterday, my kid had a skateboarding lesson, and he fell at the very end of the lesson. He fell. He got a scrape on his side. Guess what hurt most for him? The emotion. Sure, the scrape hurt and it burned physically, but them emotions be hurting more. You're like, I would rather have a scrape than feel this emotion right now. You know what I mean? Because it's like the physical, I don't know, kind of, it goes away, it heals. But sometimes emotional pain can be just feel unbearable, That saying, sticks and stones don't break that's a lie. Anyways, that's a lie. That's bullshit. That was another saying that parents told their kids to try to help their kids avoid feeling the way they felt, because we don't want our kids to feel disappointed. Hey, look, that's my mom's telling me, oh, they called you fat. Oh, they said that about you. Well, guess what? Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. They do. Just admit it. Because they hurt your emotions. So anyways, he fell, and he said in the car he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed, at how he fell. And I caught myself, because I was like, oh, well, you're skateboarding. Like, of course, like, it's, if you fell and Tony Hawk saw you, he'd be like, give you a freaking pound and be like, yeah, dude, good job, man. It's all good, But he don't like that. They don't like that. He's like, so what? He's like, I fell. I didn't even fall while I was skateboarding. He tripped or something. He was highly embarrassed. I said, what hurts more right now? I said, in here, in your emotions, or your wounds, your cut, your scrape. He said, the feeling of embarrassment. The feeling of embarrassment was more hard to deal with than the scrape on his side, But I said, I caught myself trying to prevent him from continuing to feel that emotion, because I felt uncomfortable. I don't want him to feel that way, I want him to feel like, so what? I fell. I don't give a fuck. It's all good. But the fact is, he didn't feel like that. He felt embarrassed. So I switched. I stopped myself. I said, you know what? I said, it's okay. I said, that's normal that you feel embarrassed. Totally normal. I said, you're strong enough to process that emotion. You're okay. I said, it's hard, but you'll process it. You'll get through it, because they can process the emotions that they feel. Let's teach them that they can process them. They don't have to suppress them or try to hurry up and feel better. You don't. You could sit with it. Like, damn, I feel embarrassed, Go through it. Go through it to come out of it. Okay. So yeah, back to Christmas. Back to my Christmas crisis rant. Yeah, we don't want our kids to feel sad, man. And this Christmas thing has so much emotion wrapped up in it and stuff like that. Now, if you can find somebody to help you with gifts for your kids, hey, more power to you. I'm not saying don't try to. If you really believe in Christmas and you want to have a special Christmas and that involves gifts and things like that, I'm not saying don't try to cultivate that or do that for your children. By all means, celebrate how you feel is right in your heart. But I'm talking about people feeling desperation energy, panicked, fearful, distraught, even mentally distraught because they're not going to be able to get gifts for their kids. All I'm saying is stop for a minute, think about what you're doing, breathe, think about how it's just a tradition, and that what other choices do we have here? What other options? Is there another way that I could make this day special? You know what I'm saying? Like, also, it's, talk about this Roman thing. Look, the Romans held their winter solstice festival on December 25th. That's cool. And I like to talk about how it's the darkest, to talk about it spiritually, it's the darkest day of the year, the winter solstice. Isn't that wonderful, kids? Like, but guess what? After the peak, because this is what happens in life, things peak and then they drop back down again. So after the winter solstice, the darkest day of the year, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter every day. Isn't that so cool? Until we get to the spring equinox, where we have equal daylight and equal nighttime. And then we get to the summer solstice, when it's like the longest day of the year. Just start talking about fascinating things around the idea of Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Because it isn't just about this commercialized go and buy gifts, right? Who does that, who benefits from that? We all know the stores do and Amazon. Who benefits? Come on. Let's teach your kids. about the commercialism too. Let's tell them about it, even though they might not agree or understand. Be like, hey kids, this is, tell them your point of view. And kids are allowed to feel disappointed. They can feel disappointed with our love and our support. So anyways, that's the end of my Christmas crisis rant. And much love and grace to you throughout this winter season. Try to think about how lovely it is and just forget about Christmas. Forget about the Christmas pressures. Let's not let this day on the calendar drive us crazy, guys. It's not worth it.